My God, it's been too long, friends. It's been way too long, and the leaks are backed up. The leak dams are about to break, and we're about to share everything there is to know about Illuvium right here on this episode. What's up, everybody? Andrew Wall here, host and executive producer at Illuvium, and I'm excited to be back. And so are Grant and Dmitriy, who are joining me on the episode today. If you're not already familiar with Illuvium Showcase, here's what this show is all about. This is behind the scenes in our decentralized game studio where we show you the development that's happening across all of our games and products. And in this episode, we've got Illuvitars, Battleboard, Illuvials, merchandise. Well, never mind, we cut that out. Not merchandise, regions. And a quick disclaimer, this is not financial advice. Come on. You already knew that, though, because you're a super genius who tuned into this show, who's following Illuvium. So you clearly know that this is just us talking about a decentralized game studio and things that we're passionate about and representing the work that this team is doing each and every day. My first guest on the show, you know him so well from last year. It's his triumphant return in 2023. It's the co-founder of Illuvium, of course, the art director, the king of leaks himself, Grant Wawick in the house. What's up, buddy?
The second art director now, next to our other main guest.
Next to the other main guest, who is
going to win this? It's good to be back. It is. It is good to be back.
It is good to be back, yeah.
I started to miss it. There was 3 weeks there where I was like, I'm done with it. And then this week I was like, all right, I'm back.
It's time. It's time. And just full disclaimer here, and we're going to bring Dmitriy in. You ever heard of him? He's our senior art director. This guy right here. What's up, Dmitriy?
Hey, the real art director.
Yeah, we missed you, Grant. But yeah, man, it's new year, new resolution, and it's gonna be a big one for us. So, ready to pump.
Indeed. I actually told these guys, I'm sorry, audience, it's my fault. They were giving me more leaks, and I told them, no, we have enough leaks. I'm not joking. You might think it's a bit or a gimmick. I told them, don't give me any more leaks because we've got 80 plus leaks to go over this week to show all of you behind the scenes. Enough talking about the leaks. Let's just show them. So let's start things out here with our video leaks, everybody's favorite, of course, starting with everybody's favorite Snoop Dogg alluvial. What's going on with the Snoop Dogg alluvial here, guys? What are we trying to show?
Peter, as you know, in the previous showcase, was getting on to the alts for the stage 3 of this guy. And so one thing, just before we get into this episode, there was a 2-week break for the entire studio. So some of this work is a bit scattered and will be smaller leaks as the team starts ramping back up. So you'll notice that, we're showing stuff that was hinted at in previous episodes, even though it's been a month because we were off for 2 weeks. So he's wrapping up the Komodo Dragon line. And as he swaps from nature to Steam, you can see the difference. And once again, this is my favorite character. So just for the look.
And this is all effects. 3 stages that we're seeing right here. Stage 1 on the left, stage 2 in the bottom, and stage 3 up top with the big boy.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. I feel like for some reason in my gut, this guy will be one of the most valuable characters, like hardest to get characters.
I mean, given the target audience that we could be attracting, they could like this character for many, many reasons. So I agree with you. And you all know the reasons I'm talking about. Here's something that we leaked on social. Oh, really quick, before we move on to the next one, what is remaining to basically finish this Illuvial? So it's like the finished version that's going to be an arena that everybody's going to play with.
Yeah, I think he's 99% done now. Maybe we just get back into it this week and just confirm all of that. But he's done.
Like at this point, it's just the optimization. And this is where we may cut back some of the stuff, but as a kind of generic base, it's all done.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you for that insight, guys. We've got even more. This one we leaked on social media. Illuvitar's card gather. Here, let me adjust the volume for you. So what exactly is this, and at which phase is this in the user's experience with Illuvitars?
So these are just little sound effects for the process that happens on the web when you're revealing Illuvitars. So you're going to be opening up packs of Illuvitars, and all these details that we go into it, the VFX, the web integration, you see Mozart in the background. This is why it's taken so long, because we feel like after the disaster that was last year in crypto's trust sense, like people were just like, all of this is shit. Like, people got over the novelty of NFTs, and the only way to re-energize those people and make them believe in NFTs again is to go all out. And so better to take our time and do it right, so that if a mainstream influencer jumps on and does that, they're not just clicking some button, bang, their NFT's there, and it's like, all right, we're back to where we were 12 months ago. Like, we have to set ourselves apart. So we'll share over the next couple of weeks more Illuvitars details like this. But these are just little things that we're working on.
Got it. All right, awesome. Here we have another leak related to deposit mining. Oh, I'm sorry. I said no rocks this episode. This is rock. This is a rock, my friends. Take it in. Your first rock of 2023. So is this just showing off an animation, essentially, of, there would be a drone there, obviously, in the top right-hand corner, extracting these resources, right? Or mining them. Yeah.
So basically, right, like, many of the people watching this who will have played the Overworld beta now, and from the very start, we've been very honest about things that just weren't good or weren't up to the level of a AAA title. And one of those was the mining mechanic. And, we've done 3 games, so I think people can understand now how much work we've done. But we've set a standard where if it's not up to that AAA level, well, we have to get it there. So the mining was one thing that a few of us on the team thought was very underwhelming. Clicking E to mine wasn't very exciting. So we've been planning how to update this. And Sumo, our lead VFX artist, is working on a new procedural mining system where it does it in stages. So you hit as you mine the rock, and you notice that in the previous mechanic, you'd press E and it would just show up the minerals, but nothing on the actual rock would change. Now it'll break through individual stages, and you'll see the rock being decomposed as you're mining those resources. And then in future, we're going to update this even further to the point where the player is targeting where to mine on the rock. So you'll be able to fire a gun at it, break it apart, and then Mozart will suck it up. So it'll be like a 2-part process. You break the rock down with your gun, and Mozart then harvests the minerals.
Very cool. Thank you for explaining that and breaking that down for us. I appreciate it. Now here is correct me if I'm wrong, it's dimensional stability, and then I guess there's also instability, let's say. This is a beautiful looking animation. And so help me understand what's being worked on here.
Well, you knew from about 3-4 months ago when I started speaking about how crazy the dimensional stability mechanic was in the game. But because it is so unique to Illuvium, we needed to push that further as well. It needed to be as visually impressive as the mechanic is to the gameplay. And Sumo has just gone absolutely crazy. It's more of Sumo's work. It looks ridiculous. I thought it was great before. I thought we were good before. In the Overworld beta, some things didn't make it in that we'd been working on. That's one of the annoying things sometimes about releasing the game earlier than you would like, because that there are things that are maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks away that would drastically improve the visuals, but they just don't make the cut. And now we've got this hectic, over-the-top, crazy VFX that as the sound and everything builds up, you'll have a much better visual representation of where the dimensional stability is.
It's beautiful. So for everybody's reference then, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, guys, with the dimensional stability mechanic, basically you're trying to defeat in the overworld the enemy team with the least amount of essentially resources or power on your team possible. And as you deploy more and more power or mastery points from your team versus the other team, it becomes more unstable. And so as you can see, when they're removing Illuvials from the battle board, the bubble expands, which means you're, let's say, better off in this case.
Yes.
Is that more or less the simple explanation?
Yep.
as things collapse. So it's interesting, right? In the overworld beta, none of this is live, right? So there's that visual impact you get, the sounds, the look and feel, the character you're catching, all has an influence on how tense the situation is. But until we go live with the game, where if you miss that capture, that alluvial's gone forever, we're not going to see people's true reaction. And that's what I'm excited about, because I was watching people for, I don't know, 30, 40 hours playing the overworld beta. And Jim Barino and the other influencers, I was in their streams for hours watching them play, trying to get a feel for how people were reacting. And there were some really, really tense moments where people were genuinely excited and scared to miss a character. But like, it will go up by a factor of 10 when it's live and you actually have to catch that character and there's a value attached to that character.
Yeah,
Very
I think at the
cool.
moment it's also because like people know that it's all just beta and everything, all the progress will be wiped out. They don't care that much, but like it still gives them a lot of emotions.
Very cool. Yet another layer of polish and detail. That's what Illuvium's all about, is surprising audiences with how gorgeous these games are at every turn. Terror Bird animation.
All these final characters getting close to being done.
Indeed. I love the way the animation looks. Is that like a pair of wings, like scissor beak attack
beak,
looking
yeah.
animation there?
Yeah, it's his beak. I've shown the stage 1 on Showcase, but now we got the stage 2.
Very cool.
Another very rare character.
I love this bird, says Toriel. We love it too. Here's some Unreal Engine footage. I mean, I'm seeing lots of additional particles flying about. Is that what we're demoing here in this piece of footage?
That's exactly right. Because like one of the main feedback, and we knew that from the beginning, it will be like people saying the overworld is too boring, it's too static, and this is one of the elements that we're going to bring into the game as soon as it's ready, to give a little bit of the dynamic and a little bit of more interaction between the character and the game.
But just to be like fully, this is a very minute, small detail in that process. We've just had our first leads meeting on Monday night since that 2-week break. And the number one thing for Overworld is getting the plants in. That's going to be our goal for the next beta, to get, even in some capacity, that mechanic in there, as well as PvP. So the two things we're focusing on are PvP in the autobattler and the plants in the overworld, because I was actually very surprised how engaged people were in the current state of the overworld. But once again, we're not idiots. We know, like, we're very self-critical, and we know when we're watching people play, and we know that we said this 50 times, it was going to feel a little bit boring, and that we had a lot of work to do to make it not boring, but it's all planned. And as you've seen what we've been able to deliver, now you should be able to get an idea of like where we're heading. And if this is where we're at now, where are we going to be at in 6 months' time?
I love the little details there. The particles coming from the ground. It's giving me some Avatar vibes. Those little details in Avatar, for example, with bioluminescence and the details in the foliage and the little butterflies flying about, and all those little details make that universe truly fantastical. And I love that we're adding those sorts of elements to our universe. All right, here's the SFX of our dash before tweaks. Help me understand this one.
They're doing all sorts of tweaks right now and improvements to the movement, the sound of the movement in the game. That was one of the things that was kind of a little bit rushed out. There was a few things that were reliant on animation going in, and that animation, as you saw, didn't go in until the last minute. So it's very hard for the sound team to refine how the game feels until the movement mechanics are locked in. And now that we've got the running and jumping locked in, you know, even though we're adding more, we're just starting to refine the sounds and trying to make them more pleasing over a long period of time. There's nothing more annoying when you're playing the game for 25 hours and there's one sound that kind of like screams out at you the whole time.
Got it. We've got a Lynx Bulwark stage 3 idle animation for everybody. Take a look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful alluvial.
So where are we at with this stuff, Dmitry, with the NFTs?
We're getting really close. Like we're getting really close to start pumping them out as quick as we can. There is a lot of preparation. Like I underestimated the amount of work that needed to be done for the NFTs, but like we're getting there, and yeah, like final renders. I started posting some of the whips already, but like it's still one step behind. But like we're getting the speed there. So this will be now you see the fur simulation in these characters. Like we're adding all sort of details into that, and
this full cinematic quality now. Every single NFT, these aren't viewed once. You know, it's not like a movie. If you freeze any Disney movie or whatever, you'll find errors and mistakes because the movies aren't designed to be watched 500 times. But the NFTs have to be perfect because you're going to see these animations on loop over and over in your inventory, and the more you stare at them, the more errors and things like that you see. So I believe this was a bit of a whip, like we wanted to improve the tail dynamics as well.
This one was one of the earliest whip, and Yannick is already reworking some of the stuff based on some of the feedback.
This will be final everywhere else, but we're still going.
That's what we do. We have to stay as far away from dog shit as possible. Penguin stage 1 taunt in the house. Look at this taunt. He's dabbing in your face.
Laughing. It's so funny, right? This character has just totally come to life with the animation, because I feel like the animation is far more unique than the look of the character. You know, like it's just such a weird combo. I love him.
I agree.
Another contender for cutest Illuvial.
Totally agree. That personality is coming through. Like, you know, those penguins in Madagascar? They look like regular penguins, but their animations and their personality, the way they animated them, made them remarkable. And we're getting a lot of personality here. There's a fainting animation. Don't cry, everyone. This is stage 3 penguin.
God, the animation. It's so good to be back. Like I said, 3 weeks I was over it. I was like, all right, just stop thinking about Illuvium. Stop scrolling through the Discord. Stop clicking everything. Stop checking all the emails. And now I'm like, holy shit.
Can't stay away. It's too addicting. Here is an all variations penguin stage 3. There's some sound along with this one as well. Let me turn that up for everybody. That's some freaky sound. This is like nightmare sound right here coming out of this penguin's mouth.
Sub-Zero inspired. But as you guys know, sounds are one of the last things to go in before the character is implemented in the game. So we are very close to getting all of the characters in the game now, I think. In the next 3 months, I think we'll be completely done with all of the characters, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy. This one's so cool. Love the audio. Here's Penguin Stage 3 Omega. This one, to me, and I don't know, it feels Dragon Ball Z to me. Powering up, that energy's coming. About to, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm a 90s kid. This Omega power-up is great, though. What's that?
Doesn't he fire like an ice beam, Dmitry?
I think he is. I need to double check that, but like I think he is.
Penguin Samurai, some people are calling him. Yeah, that's not too inaccurate. That's not too inaccurate. We'll accept that answer. People are loving the penguin. Very good. We also have a walk animation. Just all the work that goes into creating these Illuvials, guys. Just everything from the walk, and obviously you run faster with your arms behind your body. Clearly.
The Naruto run. Yeah.
Yeah, the Naruto run, exactly.
Which I've never seen.
This is your first time seeing it. That's cool too, to be able to see the work the team is doing.
Well, I've never seen Naruto.
Oh, you've never seen Naruto?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
got it.
So I was like, what are they talking about? Like 3 months ago when the first stage 1 came through. And I was like, what's a Naruto run? But I mean, the animators have sometimes free will to just make them how they think are going to look cool. You know, we're not going to say no. The animators are so experienced.
Yep, and of course, I'm sure, obviously, a bunch of them are anime fans. We also have we're moving on to Poodle Moth. We've got a ton of Poodle Moth today. with some freaky sounds you guys will hear in the background. This is Poodle Moth Stage 1 Faint. So with all these assets we're showing right now with Poodle Moth, where are we at in development of Poodle Moth, and what's remaining as I go through these to polish this one off and have it be ready to live in our games?
So these are final animations, but I believe we still have VFX to do. The Poodle Moth. The Poodle Moth has one of the most spectacular ults in the entire game. It carpet bombs in a line over the other characters. So we're not there yet with VFX for this guy, but sound and animations are done.
Got it. This is the taunt animation saying, "Come at me, bro." This is stage 1. Poodle Moth Stage 2 idle animation. Obviously, look at the significant transformation of this Illuvial from Stage 1 to Stage 2. It's just so huge.
Crazy. It's another rare character. You know, I witnessed...
like, man, like, all of them, I think, rare, you know? Like, when you look at them, like, one-to-one, individually, it's like, everything
when you watch people play... When you watch people play the overworld and you're just seeing, like, 5,000 Totopis and cuckers, and you know, you want the rare ones.
Yeah,
they're all visually unique, but I'm talking about in-game rare. Like, it's going to be hard to find this character.
Right, I understand what you're saying. Here's a stage 3 faint, and notice how the stage 3, yet another major visual transformation. This is a faint variation for you guys.
Poodle.
That's dramatic right there. That's like World Cup soccer or World Cup football level fainting.
We saw worse than that.
We saw. Here's the stage 3 idle animation for Poodle Moth. There was a question in chat, where'd they get their name Poodle Moth? Do you care to answer that?
The Poodle Moth is an actual animal.
Ah, I didn't know that. Please tell us more. That's it. That's the whole story, huh?
Well, I mean, it's just it's a moth. It's just one of the most beautiful forms of moth. Look it up on Google.
I didn't know that. I didn't know a poodle moth was a real thing in real life on Earth. So that I just learned something today.
Every alluvial is based on rare or extinct animals.
Got it. All right, so this ties into the rare and extinct animals. Perfect. And then we have a stage 3 poodle moth idle variation. Yeah, that's it. Just chilling. Nothing too exciting. But the team has to design all these animations so this character, this alluvial, comes to life when you play with him. They can't just stand there, obviously. All right, we have another leak here of a ranger tether and movement update. Help us understand what's happening here.
Sound updates.
Sound. Okay.
So maybe we can crank the sound on this one.
I am going to crank it right now. Prepare your eardrums.
Little tweaks. Not going to say it's a huge change, but they are constantly refining all this stuff.
I'm hearing sort of this like digitally sound, like in the background behind each shot. Yeah, crystalline. A little bit crystalline. Yeah.
I mean, the ETH mind is from crystals, so.
Are the movement sounds also updated? Is that it's also?
Yep.
I see.
Yep.
I'm gonna crank it for everybody.
A lot of people playing the overworld really, really loved the sounds. They found it very pleasing. You know, there were guys like Zilbrad and Jim Barino just jumping around non-stop. And I just want to point out here, I know it's called somehow, I don't mean to ruin the hype train on you, Jim Barino, but Zilbrad did the Jim Barino jump hours before you. Not to rain on your parade. He was the first person playing the overworld to unlock the full jetpack and gravity boots upgrades, and just started flying around. Now, I will say that Jim Barino did take it to another level, but wasn't the first.
Sorry, Jim Barino, you just got called out.
I'm just waiting for him to respond in chat.
It's the Jim Barino jump. Now that it's been on the show, it's you don't have to be the first for it to be branded your name. It's now the Jim Barino jump. Let's make this a trending hashtag on
Crushing.
Twitter, everybody. Perfect. Okay, let's move on to Sloth. This is Sloth Stage 2 Idol from the left. Just take a little turn there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The Sloth,
crazy.
I love these Sloth animations. This taunt animation is my favorite, one of my favorite leaks of the episode. Trying to spook you, bro, and then getting a little sleepy, though. I love it. Come at me, bro, after I nap. Awesome animation. I love this. This is probably my favorite video leak of the episode. Perfect.
I love this character too. It's so different. A lot of the characters in the game are fast, high action, high energy, and we've just gone completely against it. There really is just a full diverse range from one extreme to the other in the game. I think we've gone beyond what Pokemon did.
I agree. Sloth idle animation. This is stage 3, though. As you can see, significant transformation, leafier and beefier.
So unique. Such a unique character. Like, I can't say all of our characters are completely unique to like any other game or movie that's ever been made, but I feel like this Sloth character is just super unique. It's just mind-blowing, the design. This is Roger. Roger just pumped this out one day, the concept for this guy, and just no whips, just 0 to just, it's perfect.
I would agree that the Sloth would be a friend of the Komodo dragon. Yeah, I think those two hang out. And then Sloth Stage 3 Walk. I love how, and when you see the from up top walk, and it's kind of hard to see in the top left, you can really see how he looks like he's really moving from the front, but if you look at him from up top, he's kind of still sleepy moving. It's just so well done. It's like a sleepy walk. I don't know. Just really good animation. Great job maintaining the spirit of the character.
I really can't wait to see these in the overworld. When we eventually get to that stage, I think that's game over. There's no way anyone can hate on it anymore.
Very cool. All right, that's it for our video leaks, but luckily for everyone, we have like 60 visual leaks for all of you. So we're going to go ahead and get into those right now. So let me pull them up for you, starting with our character leaks. So let me pull these up on the screen and let's knock these out, guys. 80 leaks in this episode, a record breaker. This was who made this, first of all, and can we give them a raise? I mean, look at this. This is amazing.
We've got...
Who was it? Like, that was...
I just want to double check.
Yeah, I'm looking into that as well.
Just look at the detail on this. We got Santa here. We got Mozart. Like the presents in the sleigh. Like all of the details here are just incredible.
I got to scroll back up here. I don't want to... It was Sophia, yeah. But I just didn't want to say Svetlana. It was Sophia who's done this. So our illustration team is absolutely world class.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
One of the Christmas card that's been released last year.
A little Santa Atlas.
Just the detail on this is absolutely gorgeous.
So good. This
Very
gives
cool.
you a hint into the long-term 10-year vision for Illuvium, where we do what Pokemon did and start influencing everything.
Yeah, integrate your brand into pop culture, into the World Cup, into the Super Bowl, into Christmas, into Hanukkah, into, the culture of Earth, if you will. And if this is going to be the level of implementation for that, I think we're in store for some fun stuff. This is beautiful. I love this leak. That's why I wanted to kick it off. Looks like we're moving into some Illuvitars, though. This one's a showstopper. I gave this to our social media team because just look at the beautiful crystally detail. Holy moly.
We don't rush the artists either. Like Dan has been able to work on this. No one sits there and says, hey man, you got to wrap it up now. Like it's got to go out. And Dmitry and I are very well aware. We went our whole print careers. You get a cutoff date and that's it. Stop. But with Illuvium in our studio, it's just work on it until the artist is happy, right? We've hired the artist because they've got such high standards. And if we cut them off early and say, all right, we got to get this out, like, we can't let Illuvitars wait forever. You don't end up with the world's best product. So the detail and time he spent on this is truly, this doesn't happen quickly. He's very, very quick, but to get it to this level of polish, it's just mind-blowing. Dan, Svetlana, Sophia, they're all world-class, some of the best in the world, illustration artists.
I agree. I mean, the evidence is on the screen. Really well done. I love the glacial facial hair here. I mean, just everything about it. Even the teeth are like remarkable when you zoom in. Just the detail is insane. Really, really well done. Who are we looking at here? Look at that ominous look down at us. Is this a villain? Is this a villain being revealed? I love it.
It looks
Stage
like Batman,
three.
isn't it? Look at him.
Stage
Gives me
3
the
links.
Batman vibe.
Look at that look right there. Like he
Love
is
the shadow.
disappointed, and
Yeah.
he does not think highly of you.
It's just insane. The Illuvitars is going to be very special. Not just the artwork, but just everything involved. The revealing process, the collectability, the sets. We've put our soul into it. That's why it's taken so long, but it will be worth it. I think finally there'll be something out there in the crypto space that mainstream media can latch onto as a positive in the space. Not something that was just a quick money grab.
Agreed. Yeah, and so the question in chat here is, what is this, an NFT profile pic? Essentially, yeah, that's what Illuvitars are, and we're showing those now. We're gonna have a ton of Illuvials available in our upcoming Illuvitar sale, and you can fully customize these Illuvitars we're showing right now with a series of accessories, and then combine those accessories with the Illuvitar to create your own unique avatar profile picture, essentially. So this isn't just a high quality, world-class NFT. This is an NFT that you can customize and collect. We're designing basically an entire video game, the album video game, if you will, where you collect these and get rewards.
Did you see all the stuff happening with Logan Paul recently with the Crypto Zoo stuff? Because
I only caught the headlines with Crypto Zoo and what have you, but not a good look is the conclusion I've come to.
But here's the honest truth. Logan Paul, when he reinvigorated the hype in Pokemon, was what got Kieran and I hyped to make that first NFT collection. And now that everything's gone to shit, I'm very glad we didn't collaborate with him, because it turned out to be yet another really dodgy NFT project that's crippled people's perception of this industry. But there was like, in one of his responses, he was like, all I wanted to do was just create like a modern Pokemon on the blockchain. And then I realized just how difficult it was. And I was like, yeah, well, you fucking
Yeah, he tried and he failed and he didn't know. Wow. I didn't realize that's what he was going for with that. So yeah, it turns out you need a ton of really talented people working for years to pull this off.
Yeah. A little bit harder than...
It is mind-blowing.
Who are we looking at here for audience members that don't know who this is?
Apon, Aaron's character in Illuvitar form. So cool.
He's talking about Aaron Warwick, this guy's brother, his co-founder. This is a character basically for him. Beautiful. Just the detail on all of these is incredible. It's just looking so good, guys.
There's my one, the Rogue. Smug.
Here, let's do a side by side here and see how accurate this is. Here, I'm going to turn you off real quick, Dmitry. Let's do a side by side. What do you guys think? Pretty spot on? Yeah, there it is, boy. Nice.
Amazing.
Very good. It actually does resemble you. I mean, obviously there's insane like fantasy details and stuff, but it does resemble you. Well done. Okay, I've got this GIF here. What is that? Is this just kind of showing off modeling and all of the guts, if you will, of an alluvial that are required to animate it?
This is the whip from Maria, I believe, and this is getting to the last steps of getting the model into the game. So she's preparing all the fur for that, but she need to test every haircuts with the animation. So like here, she just jiggles around a bunch of controls in the Maya to see like if it's really working or not.
When you look at other games, the shortcuts they take, you'll notice, like even in other mainstream AAA games like God of War and Horizon Forbidden West, when characters with fur move, you'll notice a lot of intersections. So the fur will go through the wing and things like that. We have to set up custom rigging and hair cards to avoid that happening, so that as the animators animate, the fur isn't intersecting with its head and wings and legs. And because that also translates to the NFT. So the amount of polish we have to do is literally to the same level as a mainstream Hollywood animation movie.
Well, that's your background, and that's then, and a lot of the talent on the team that you've brought on board has that background. So of course,
Exactly.
you would draw from that skill set and those techniques, and apply those cinematic and AAA techniques to a video game. Maybe for the first time, we're seeing this, and maybe that's why the quality level is so crazy. So is this just similar, just with a different alluvial showing a different perspective here?
This is before adding the fur cards, but it's a work in progress rig where we've gone through and tweaked to make sure that the fur will work on the character. So at every step of the process, right, there's like a back and forth. It'll go from rigging to animation, then it'll go from animation to fur, then it'll go from fur to Dmitry or I setting up the character. We notice a problem. Sometimes it has to go back in that chain and then go through steps again to avoid problems. We don't just let stuff go.
Oh man, people hate me. I think so. They hate me because the amount of time I sent all the assets back, even though like it's very tiny details, but like I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like once it's minted, it's gonna be there forever, and like we can't do that. We just need to get everything polished.
Well, everybody that's following Illuvium and is a part of this realizes that's the way we approach things. And if they want to follow a studio or or they want to be a part of a DAO that pumps out, let's say, 100 video games in 100 genres, and maybe one of them works out, there's plenty of those folks out there. I've talked to them at all the conferences. Their strategy is to copy paste games and just slap some blockchain on top. Feel free to unfollow us and go follow them. We're taking the opposite approach. Here's some concept art for some emotes. These are lovely. Who do you guys know who was the creative behind these sketches?
Is this Vincent?
Yeah, it is Vincent.
He's just amazing at blasting these. So we choose the options, right, for emotes in the game, little emojis that we'll use in the text chat for the game. And I believe these are unlocked as well. You don't just get them all when the game starts. I believe there'll be like a base set of emojis, but as a collectible game, we've tried to tie in that collectability into each level of the game. So even if you're playing PvP against someone, you'll have a certain character. If you unlock Grocko stage 1, you might get an emoji with that and emoticon. And as you unlock and level that character up, you'll unlock more of those, so that there's layers to the collectability of each character.
There you go. So I was going to ask, where will these emojis live? Obviously, text chat is one of those places. Aaron has spoken on previous Illuvium insiders on the different communication functions within the game and when those would be coming out. Some of those are very difficult to execute. Just keep those in mind, guys. Not just us. A lot of game studios end up doing different communication features post-launch even, or after open betas. Okay, what are we trying to show here with more of this Sub-Zero samurai penguin?
That is the text. Is it the fur? The fur cards?
The fur,
yeah,
the Maria. Cards. Yeah. If you go down to the legs, it's subtle, but you will notice that it's slightly covering the. That's all actual fur cards. It's not a texture. So, like I've said many times, I don't think there's a single game on Earth that has had this much AAA hair and fur work done, and it's been done by a team of 2 people, Maria and Yannick, who are a husband and wife team. They've copped the brunt of a lot of hard work, but I think in their careers, they know that this is, truly special to be able to do this much high quality work in a game. It's never been done before. And even on characters where you go, maybe we just texture it. We still done that work. It still needs the rigging work, still needs the hair cards, still needs to go into the NFTs. It's a lot.
Indeed. Who is this?
This is the red panda that was done as the community contest. So this is the community-made alluvial. And I believe Illuvial won this from memory. I'm a little bit hazy, but from memory, the team at Illuvial had successfully done this. Maybe someone can correct me on that. I don't want to.
I believe you're right, and if you're wrong, yeah. I'm also mistaken there. But yeah, I believe you're right.
Yeah,
this is looking fantastic.
Very cool. The stage.
This is a really
version.
Fit, sort of almost fighter-looking red panda from the looks of it.
Yeah, I was right. Okay, I just didn't want to It's been a few weeks since I've been looking at the project and. Didn't want to
But have you seen the latest IP that's been passed regarding the new another Illuvial that we gonna do?
No.
The spider one?
No, so, yeah, tell us more. Yeah, tell us more, Dmitry.
Apparently the community voted for that, and now we're doing the spider Illuvial.
Okay, there you go. And there, case in point, we're not the boss, you're the boss. The council's the boss, the community's the boss. So that's really cool. So that's awesome. That makes me happy to see the community, calling some of the shots here and saying what they want out of Illuvium, and then your wish is our command. More shots here of this red panda. Looking good. Looking beefy. Not missing any days at the gym.
Yeah, he hasn't gone through the stages of the others because obviously we started him much later in the process, so the red panda will probably be one of the last alluvials to finish, but still we're getting close to just polishing the model off. Alex, I believe, started that model, and now we're just doing a little bit of tweaking to just bring it more in line with something that looks less beefy and chunky. It was a little bit too muscly before, so we've just dropped that off a bit.
Got it. Okay, that's fair. Okay, now we're looking at more Poodle Moth, and there's some before and after. So we see some arrows here. Help us understand the work that's being done here.
Oh, this is definitely a Dmitry answer.
That is the most I think underappreciated work that's been done in the whole DAO at the moment. So Sean is taking care of all the displacement maps, baking all the characters, and he goes through the process of some of the disasters that he have to fix, and some of them would go very smooth. But basically, what the process is, we've got the high poly model, and we need to capture all those details into the low poly to be able to do all the animations with that amount of details. These high poly, these displacement maps, are not used in the game, but they're used in the NFTs, and this is the only time those details will shine in a full kind of beauty of it.
But I will say as well, to future-proof ourselves, right now we've seen a lot of major developments in Unreal Engine with things like real-time ray tracing, Lumen, Nanite for the geometry. The games industry is always moving forward, right? And some of those improvements that are going to be made in the future can be preempted. And one of those is real-time displacement. So Nanite solved high-res geometry, but that's at runtime. In the future, we wanted to make sure that we future-proofed ourselves so that if displacement became a thing, we would have all of that set up, all of that work set up, and it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. We get the game character to work in a cinematic level with the NFTs, as well as future-proofing ourselves so that if there's a new feature in the future for real-time displacement in games, now we're not using normal maps in games, we take the normal map out of the process and swap over to displacement mapping, so we get 100% of the detail from the sculptors in game. I don't know if that'll happen in a year, 2 years, 5 years, but eventually it will just be a feature. Graphics cards will be able to run that, and we will have that work done so that when we update the game later on, it keeps it up to standard with modern games. Because you can imagine if real-time displacement comes out, any game pre that feature being implemented will look outdated, and we will have ourselves in a position where we can just swap over, which I think is ridiculously cool, because I don't really know of any other major game development features that are going to make that much of a visual difference, but we've really thought of everything to try and make this a super well thought out in advance production.
Yep.
Of course.
Well, this is a great example. Have a look into the points that he mentions, like in the eye, and then before and after.
Zoom right
it's
in.
very, very, very subtle, but he goes and fixes it because it's gonna be visible. And if there is some
Zoom
bugs
even
like
further.
that,
I can't zoom in further,
Oh,
unfortunately.
you can't.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I only have times 3
We
zoom
do.
set up on a hotkey. Sorry about that. I can't zoom in
we
further.
zoom into every pixel. Every pixel.
Yeah, but there's a divot on the bottom of the eyelid there. There's a little imperfection inside next to the retina and by the nose. And then if we look at the after, those issues are addressed.
Yeah. Very subtle, but that's what chasing perfection is.
Same thing here. I see. There's a little bit of an exposed edge here on this model, and
It's good to highlight this work because Sean doesn't get the credit he deserves, but this is difficult to do. This isn't something easy that you can just throw at anyone. You have to have a lot of experience with texturing and know how the pipeline works to be able to fix this. A lot of this work is manually fixed as well. You know, it's not just, hey, let's just rebake it with different settings. Like, he has to manually go into Photoshop, fix these things. It's work that to Dmitry and I is probably the most important, because it takes it from, we look at it and go, if we pushed it out in that unfinished state, we'd be like, we could always do better next time. But when he's done his thing, in 5 years' time, we'll look back on it and go, you know, holy shit, we actually did it perfect.
Speaking of holy shit, here's some of my favorite leaks from the episode. I promised you Battleboard. Look at this Battleboard. Good God. Give him the overview. Dmitry, what is everybody looking at here? Tell him about the region, and just give him I'm just going to zoom in, take him on a little tour around this gorgeous Battleboard. We have some multiple images to show.
This little basin that's been reworked completely from scratch by Vanya. So she took whatever been done before her and went to the next level by dressing it completely new, readjusting all the rock placement and everything. So, and it just become a masterpiece.
Giving it more space. Because you remember we did a showcase, Andrew, where we shared this, and you were like, I haven't even seen this. What is this? And the community was freaking out. But
I do remember.
In that early stage, it wasn't optimized, and it's amazing to just throw heaps and heaps of details at something, but if it's not going to run on people's computers, well, we can't do it, you know, like, it has to be optimized. And so Vanya has taken the work that Leotes Studio did, which was amazing work, and just refined it so that the spacing is consistent with all the other battle boards, because obviously one of the important factors of our game is having a free roaming camera, and we want to show the dimensional stability closing in. So the previous version, everything was too tight to the board. So when you implement the dimensional stability, if it's closing in, you can't see it because it's inside the...
Got it. I see what you're saying. You know, so you need space outside of the board that's clear and that's not cluttered for that dimensional stability bubble to expand and contract.
Exactly.
Understood. And so here, we've got the space around the board here for that bubble to expand and contract. It feels less cluttered. It feels more clean, and it gives you more of a sense of space here, which is really, really cool.
It's a very, very large region, and the sense of scale in Illuvium is something that from a very early point was critical. You know, if you're going to make an avatar-like world and create something completely different to anything people have seen, I think one of the coolest things you can do is just not abide by Earth's scale and go big. And so the previous Battleboard, even though it looked spectacular and was set dressed amazing, it didn't have that sense of scale that you get in the actual Abyssal Basin level. So a few refinements done. And once again, we could have just pushed that previous Battleboard out, but all 7 of these Battleboards are being worked on at the moment and are at different stages. And we'll be sharing those in the upcoming showcases over the next few months.
Look at the details, just the little particles and the mushrooms, and all of it is just
it's crazy,
eye-popping good.
Not just 7 regions, 7 battle boards as well. These are like little mini maps within, you know, that take a lot of work. You know, the scope of what we have done is not appreciated yet because people haven't seen it all.
Right.
You know, they haven't.
Yeah,
just
they
like
only
when you're
got
playing
prison
Final
waste
Fantasy, in Final Fantasy, you end up spending so much time in, just as an example, Final Fantasy games, battling, and they have a battle board similar to kind of what we have here for that region. You spent like 30% of your time in that region, if you will, on the battle board fighting. And so it's got to be good.
Yeah. The battle boards for us are like a diorama of it. It's a smaller area, so it has to be perfect. There's no excuses. In our overworlds, you'll notice that in Crimson Waste, a lot of it is very, very well set dressed, but there are areas like up on the surface where we can't go to this level of detail. You know, to make kilometers of space is impossible, and so we leave some areas a little bit more empty. But with the battle boards, there's no excuse. It has to be a perfect representation of each biome. And the other cool thing is seeing these, you know, the green color, for example. Each region has a very specific color tone because people, as you saw in the overworld, were just playing for 10 hours straight. It's visually draining on the eyes to just be seeing one color the whole time. Our goal was to make each biome diverse enough visually so that people felt the need to not only go to different regions for character related purposes or like mining purposes, but just to get a fresh feel and not get bored of playing one region over and over and over. And we wanted people to jump between, you know.
Dmitry, I cut you off a minute ago, buddy. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm pretty good. I don't think
Sounds good.
I have anything to add. Yeah.
All good, dude. And here are some screenshots, not of the battle board, but of Abyssal Basin. And you spoke of that fantastical or fantasy scale. Look how big these trees are from this position. I mean, this is like 50, 60, 70 feet in the air, these trees. I mean, it's incredible.
Bigger, much bigger. Like 50 meters.
And now remember the IZ, right? Now remember how we're using exactly the same assets in the other game.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
He's referring to Illuvium 0, if you guys don't know what he's referring to with IZ, our mobile city builder game. These same, so you're saying these same tree assets you see here.
Exact.
These are hero plants, right? Are in the Illuvium 0 mobile game. So if you buy a piece of land and you play on an Abyssal Basin piece of land, you'll see this same freaking tree on your land. That's cool.
Not just the same design, literally the exact same asset. 1-to-1, exported from Unreal Engine, brought into V-Ray, rendered. We said that from the very start. Interoperability between the assets allowed us in future, you know, the Illuvium wasn't a 2-3 year vision. It was a 20-year vision where all games shared assets. Fuel, it was all interoperable.
Very cool. Assets are interoperable. Fuel is interoperable. Illuvials are interoperable. Take it to the marketplace, and there's so many ways to interact between our games and regions. So cool. This one is striking to me. It's so simple. So much. It just shows you how the choking fog in Abyssal Basin here, and it feels more foreboding when you look at it from afar. And like you could get lost in a bad way in this region, and it could suck you in.
What it's missing right now is, so with each region, and this is Mark's workflow, is to set up a base standard lighting scenario that works across the whole level. And then we go in and add lighting to specific areas, like under the trees and things like that. You know, it's like Crimson Waste overall is a red region, but there are definitely tunnels where the ambience is very colorful, and that is that Illuvium style. So we have a overarching visual aesthetic for each region. You know, crimson red, abyssal green, shard bluff black. You know, we've got basic color schemes for each, but then we go in and add that kind of fantasy level flair to each region, which we haven't done on Abyssal yet. That'll be the next thing that Martian goes in and works on.
I see people in chat saying Crystal Shores, Taiga Boreal. We've got both of those to show you here in this episode. Here's some, we're still in blockout, correct? For
Yes,
Crystal Shores?
yes. Yeah. But getting close. It's, you can see the scale coming together now.
Look how teeny weeny your ranger is compared to these giant freaking crystals on Crystal Shores. So incredible. For those that haven't watched our previous 15 episodes of this show, blockout phase, once it's complete, what happens next to develop these regions?
So we start populating it like with the ready models. So in parallel, right now, what's happening is our modeling department finishing up with the high poly models for that region with all the assets that is required for this region. And as soon as the blockout is done, we'll start high-resing it.
Okay, cool. Just a little behind the scenes, inside knowledge there on how this goes down. All right, these are some of my favorite images from this episode. Grant, top to bottom, what is the help us understand these three images and how they relate to each other, or Dmitry, whoever wants to answer this.
So we go through multiple phases in order to create the regions. The first step is the concept phase, which
starts at the bottom, correct?
Yep, which is kind of looks, not exactly, that is still an overpaint, right? But basically we just start up with random concepts of what the region could look like. Then we do the block out of the region. Now that block out won't match one-to-one with the concept, because the concepts, we might have 20 to 30 images for each region, but the regions are so big that those concepts just direct the general flow of the region. Some of those areas we will try and match from the concept, but not every area matches. So we go through the block out and we try and match as much as we can to the concept. But at that point where we swap over to the high res, which is what Onyx Studio have done, they can't detail it in a polished way until we overpaint. So it goes concept, block out, high poly, then we overpaint on top of what's literally there in high poly, so that Onyx has a visual guideline of where to take it from 90% complete to 100% complete. What plants are in the region? What items are the environment artists scattering around? That you'll notice that there's flowers and little crystals in the floor, and the moss on the grass, the fog. All of these things come from our concept department to give the environment team that final direction for lighting and set dressing. So this is what you're seeing there is a high poly implementation of the region without the final details, without plants scattered, without any lighting work done. You know, this region, Taiga Boreal, hasn't had lighting development done on it. So it's very flat, you know. So the concept artists are trying to just give the environment team that final push to complete the level, so that we've got reference of one-to-one. This is that exact camera angle, lock that camera angle off. When the artist goes in and set dresses, they make sure they stay looking at it from that angle, so there's no discrepancy with the perspectives and potentially misplacing things. And it just gives us the ability to get things laser focused to 100% complete, like what you're seeing in a lot of the Crimson Waste areas.
And this is the Geyser room. And so correct me if I'm wrong here. The Geyser's obviously going to shoot upwards, and that's going to be a traversal mechanic where you can literally be blasted up through this Geyser to upper levels.
Elevators, yeah. The movement mechanics in the game, as you've seen with the Gymborino jump, I'll just call it that. I'll give it to you. You know, you can traverse pretty far once you upgrade your stuff. Now, I did have a little argument with Aaron over this. Aaron was like, "Yeah, we've got to nerf that," and I was like, "Why? That's where people were having the most fun. Like, you can't nerf fun. Like, if it's fun for people, why take it out?" And the thing I don't think people realize is that these regions, Crimson Waste isn't the biggest region. There are regions far bigger, and you need to be able to traverse the area quickly. And so by incorporating these mechanics into the level where you can like jump up, 400 meters in the air and run through the level faster in different regions with trampolines, even though the regions are really big, it feels smaller. It's this weird mix where I'm in a huge region, but I'm traversing it quickly, which I think is amazingly cool and unique.
I agree. Just showing more of the Geyser. And this art right here is breathtaking. Take a look at this one. This is the Geyser paint over. Looking beautiful. So you just jump on top of this Geyser, guys, and it's going to shoot you up. Go for a ride. Your jetpack's not going to take you up that high. You need the Geyser to propel you. And look at the scale. That's your Ranger there, friends. And that's the Geyser.
Yeah.
It's big.
VFX I can't wait to see the VFX for that. So this region isn't going to be what's released in the open beta. Open beta has 3 regions, and this will come later on in the process. Like we've said, for people who are new to the showcase or Illuvium, we release with 3 regions and then drip feed the regions after that. However long it takes for us to finish, and for the people in the community to unlock the region will determine when those go out.
And the open beta he's referring to, in our State of Illuvium episode, we discussed how that open beta is coming out this year in 2023. That's one of our big 2023 milestones for Illuvium.
We've set a very aggressive internal date for that. Now, I don't want to reveal what that internal date is, but it is very aggressive. The team has had time to recover, and it's going to be a very difficult year for us as a studio because of the state of the market and everything like that. But I believe we've got the ability to do it, and getting into open beta that's what Illuvium is about. You can do all the private betas and alphas in the world until there is an actual marketplace where these items have value to yourself and others. I don't think any of this really means much. And so that's going to be the tipping point to see if this gamble that is Illuvium pays off.
Indeed. And here's another region for everybody. This is Brightland Steps. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
And we have a series of 4 images. I'm going to scroll through them quickly. And can you guys help me understand what we're showing here and what this, obviously this is trippy and everything, and there's color grids here. So help us understand how is this relevant to development?
So this is really cool, right? Because Ignis I wouldn't consider him a junior technical artist, but Ignis has come on, and he reminds me a little bit of like Dmitriy or myself when we were younger, where he's just very proactively trying to make the game better. And a lot of what he's doing is just based on his own study and research. And you'll notice that the tiling of the textures goes from being repetitive to stochastic. And this is a feature that's been available in render engines like V-Ray that Dmitriy and I used for a long time.
I see. So what you mean by repetitive to that's a little technical, but basically when you look at these patterns on the ground, they're the same. There's like the same upward triangle looking pattern here. Yeah. But when we move to this variation, it goes random.
It goes random. And so you get infinite tiling without the repeatability. And it's very cheap. I didn't even know you could do this in Unreal Engine. And that's why I'm saying like Ignis reminds me a little bit of Dmitriy or myself, because this is the type of stuff we used to try and do in the print industry. Like, whereas other people would do an ArcViz work of a building and you see the the concrete tile into the distance. It's like, how do we fix that? That doesn't look real, right? That doesn't help. Like when you see tiling, when you see polygons, these are all the things that differentiate between old school game design and like modern AAA game design. And it's just amazing to have him on the team because you don't know what he's going to implement next.
It's so cool
Makes
to
a
see
huge
how much technology is progressing across all areas: game development, AI, crypto. I mean, we're revolutionizing so many different facets of what it means to be creative now through all these technologies. It's so cool to be in this moment in history. What are we looking at here?
The same work, but just with
Same
a bit
work.
of grass slapped over the top. So now
Got
it doesn't
it.
matter if you're looking, 5 kilometers into the distance, you never see the grass tile.
Holy moly,
At
look
least
at the scale.
Yeah, it's a
This
cool
is so
region.
nuts. This is you.
We've got to do, we've got to do some lighting work on this region, but Salvatore has been working on implementing updated set dressing for this region. This is a region that we took over from Onyx. Onyx did a high poly conversion, and now we're going through and doing the final polish on the region, because Brightland Steppes and Abyssal Basin are the 2 new regions that will be in the open beta.
And you guys were saying Da Vinci was working on our painting and our art. Yeah, this is him right here. He's got to go to a meeting. He has to go keep making things that you're looking at. Dmitry, thanks for joining us on the episode, buddy. Appreciate it. Get back to work. Aggressive
Thank you so
open
much.
beta. You heard it.
Exactly. I'll see you later,
see,
guys.
you're
Thank
off.
you so much. Yeah,
Catch
good
you later,
around.
bro.
Sorry.
No worries.
All good, dude. It's all good. Thanks for coming by, man. Appreciate it. We'll have you on a future episode as well. So Grant, we have a few more things to show here. I guess this is more of what you're talking about. Basically going over the detail of the ground and making sure it's not repetitive.
There was also a question, Grant, will the subregions within the main regions have text pop up in the top center that shows the name of that subregion? 100%. That's just something that we couldn't get in yet, as well as we don't know exactly if we've locked off all the names from the subregions. And until the region is done, we don't know where to segment exactly. So 100%, I know that's one of the things that was a little bit annoying in the overworld. You're running around Crimson Waste and it's like, where am I as a newbie? Like you forget what tunnel you're in. And by having the actual text location of where you are, that's a very important feature. So 100% that will be going in.
Perfect. We've got a few assets to show everyone. These look, and correct me if I'm wrong as I go through these assets, these all look Halcyon Sea to me.
Yes,
correct?
These are all,
Yes.
We've got kelp forests. So these are all little details that are going to serve to polish the region and just give little areas their final pop and detail. Halcyon Sea, in my eyes, will be the next region that goes out after the first 3 are finished, and because it's at a further stage of development. But yeah, we're still working on assets. You notice that as these showcase episodes have gone on, it's less about less about environment assets. You're seeing less trees, less props, but that is still happening on the sideline. But definitely from a modeling sense, we're rejigging the modeling team to work on different things. So you'll see less stuff like this over the next couple of months, because eventually you run out of assets needed to set dress the level.
Of course. Yeah. And then once that work's complete, you move on to the next phase. Got it. Setting this foundation today makes so much sense. I'm so sorry we didn't have that many rocks in the episode today. I apologize. So as a consolation prize, I just have the rock. I'm sorry. That's all I've got for you today. Grant didn't deliver. Grant, what's your excuse, buddy? What happened?
You did get a rock, though. You got the mining. Like, that is all the rocks in the game, really. That's the only one that matters.
That is true.
So,
that is true. This was a rock. It was an animated rock. Normally we just have static ones. So okay, we did have one rock.
Improve. This is exciting for me because having the ability to like choose where in the rock to mine, and that area of the rock will contain different minerals, so it does make a difference, if you get what I'm saying. Like pressing E and then just random minerals popping up is less like self-influenced than if those minerals are contained within different parts of the rock. And so you choosing where on the rock to mine influences what you get. I think that is a big fundamental gameplay mechanic change, as well as all the graphic fidelity updates and all of that. But just having that self-influence over what you're mining.
Got it. So other game studios are working with this rock in their games, and right now we're working with these rocks. We're obsessed with rocks. What can we say? This was a great episode. Grant, I believe that is all of our leaks for this episode. This was, I think, a record-breaking number of leaks in comparison to previous episodes. It was 80. So all the ones that you were going to share with me, let's bring those on again next week.
Sure.
And everybody, this show we try to do it every week, if not every other week, where if the team has assets to share with all of you, Grant and I and other team members will be here to share behind-the-scenes development on all Illuvium games. Grant, you have the final word today, amigo.
In future episodes, so you notice this episode wasn't really... Sometimes I'm in Unreal Engine roaming around, and then other times we're just sharing assets and image updates and things like that. Next week's showcase, we're going to run you through inside of Unreal Engine, where we're at with certain environments and Battleboards. So it should be a very exciting episode because we'll be able to literally roam around and see where Brightland Steps is at, see where the other regions are at. I don't know what we're going to show, but it'll be a good episode.
I love the live demos. I mean, everybody loves to see the work. It's the real work in progress of you running around in them. That's the ultimate sneak preview. How many game studios out there? The next Call of Duty game, is the executives at Call of Duty showing you the maps they're developing for the next game? No. So it's really cool to see that behind the scenes. Grant, great to have you back on the show. 2023, this is a good way to kick it off. This is going to be our best year yet, by far.
I think so too. Last year was rough. This one, we should be able to pull ourselves out.
Yeah, exactly. Things are going to be on the up and up. Thanks, Grant. Have a great day, amigo. I'll let you head out. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Illuvium Showcase. I'm going to leave you with a couple minutes of original Illuvium soundtrack music. You guys are enjoying that. Some people commenting you're going to bed listening to those sweet, sweet sounds. Well, here you go. Let me crank up those sounds for you, and I'll go ahead and leave you with that as we head out from this episode. See you in the next episode, my friends. Adios.